Hi, Mathias. Nice to have some time with you. Today, we're going to talk about Exorde a bit. So, discussing how what Exorde does, several questions from my end. So, I very much look forward to having this discussion. And so, this information is also available to our investors. So, we're going to start with the pitch deck and then maybe take a look at the website and, ask questions that might be interest to people. So welcome and thanks for joining us.
Thanks for your welcome, Samson. Hi, I'm very excited to present the company and give this opportunity to people behind eqwefy. And I'm excited to present what we have and move through the opportunity.
Sounds good. Thanks a lot. So let's move first with the pitch deck and see what Exorde does. What the traction is, obviously, who are the founders behind Exorde. That's very important, right? Yeah, so let's start with that and we'll do some questions afterwards.
Okay, let's go with that. I'll share the first part of the deck. The rest will be made available to people directly. Can you see properly my presentation?
Yes.
So we have several motto for the company. All the world social data or know everything currently. Very direct. Why? Because we have a very unique tech data as a service company with Exorde. Let's be clear directly. We will be the standard, the backbone for social data, because we are the only company in the world to process billions of public social media posts, publications, news, tweets, Reddit comments, forums, everything like that in real time, and we enrich with AI as a service, right? So this is the major infrastructure that we provide to clients as a service. And this is why we are a backbone, because we will be the foundational layer for big social data. And why is that interesting? Because there is a large addressable market for our company, because we are upstream of several key strategic markets. All of these are actually growing, in addition to just being quite large today, and are expected to grow extremely quickly, not by me, but by market research in general, by 20, 12, 30% year by year over the next 10, 15 years. And we will be upstream of that. So as a data provider, a high quality, modern data provider.
So just a question before we move forward. You mentioned, and we've seen the numbers are available on the website as well, on the platform. You mentioned the billions. How many posts, social media data have you processed? You mentioned that in numbers.
We have processed, we are accelerating. We have processed more than 10 billion posts. And we are now doing almost 2 billion a month. So you can see how we are accelerating. Yes, we are accelerating a lot. And I think today, or last week, was actually the week where we have processed the most data. And we keep increasing like this because we have a unique model on how we acquire data, which makes us well positioned to take this lead in the industry. We have a real moat, a real operational advantage. We have more data than anyone else at lowest costs. So this is a bold statement, but we can back it. We know it's true, and we have a lot of validation from the industry experts who also agree that no one has this. And I will get to it on why. We have a very simple but strong philosophy with data that's actually very powerful. But let's zoom on the market. I think it's valuable to see this, to look at this picture. We are really above. Our main market today is cyber intelligence, analytics, narrative intelligence, which is actually booming since mid-2024 because misinformation, information warfare was the top threat of 2024. It's going to be one of the top major pain points or important point for large organizations. in the entire world for the next few years. We have seen how it has evolved with social media platforms, geopolitics changing the way the web is used. It's not just a nice thing to have. Now social data is really strategic, even on defense level. So we are now above the top 3 markets for us, which is cyber intelligence, defense, AI, finance. It's more or less the top markets we are above, but we're also talking with companies in social media analytics, which is the more classic industry that people know about, social listening, in other words. But we are much more than that. We are not interested in social listening per se. We are really interested in becoming the standard supplier of all this data for cyber, intel, defense, AI. And so this addressable market is actually in the billions today. There are details about how we calculated that, and it's actually higher than this, but we prefer to be conservative because we want to be honest with the projections, especially alternative data for finance. This is a field that's currently booming. For example, new or previous large financial orgs, hedge funds, algorithmic trading, they are now ingesting more data feeds. It's pretty much part of the worldwide trend for organizations to go towards data or being more data-driven, as we hear a lot. And this data partly is social data. And who in the world has the most of it? It's us, Exorde. And so it's not out of the question to compare ourselves in the next few years to large companies like Bright Data, Data Miner, that we can name. And we believe we can be a 9-digit million-dollar business in the next few years if we manage to scale in the way we like. Because this upstream potential and with our data as a service model, we can scale with high margins very quickly over the next month and years. And this is our plan and how we are going to execute it. Directly, before presenting the team that I'm part of, and look at the momentum. We have actually significant revenue for our early stage seed company. We have more than 200,000 euros today from companies mostly in cyber intelligence. Most of the trials, we have more than 10 deals in trial, 10 other deals in discussions with large companies. What we can tell to the audience is that these deals are not small and quick. It takes time. It's large 6-digit annual subscriptions. Usually it's big players who are interested in acquiring the entire feed, for example, the billions of posts of data points per month in real time, or acquire large data sets, large historical data sets. And these deals are between 100, 300,000 euros. We can give that range on average. And so these deals currently are with defense companies. We're actually discussing with one of the top 3 biggest defense companies in the world, but also with cyber intelligence companies. These companies that ends with AI a lot. Social analytics, large players like this, we're also in discussion. And we are discussing at board level, so really at the highest level with all these companies. And they are considering to either include our data feed because it's highly competitive for them, and or replace their existing providers. Because what we provide is not just one feed of data. We provide a lot of data, all aggregated, solving the massive data collection pain point for organization and the multiple sources and licensing issues that comes with it. So companies today are taking time to review what we have and testing it because they're actually interested to replace their existing small providers with one large, secure, reliable provider that is Exorde.
Yeah. And what's your, if we have the current ARR, which is recurring revenue, that's more than 200K, what's your estimate on when we're going to hit 1 million ARR?
So this is an estimate, conservative estimate from my partner, Kristen Palmer, that I will present afterward. We believe we have currently a bit more than 1 $1 million, $1.2 million in trials. And it's just a few companies. It's the immediate companies we have in trials. And we have incredible, very favorable feedback on the trials. Two of these companies, very large players, have finished their trials, and we're now moving to commercial discussion. And two others are still ongoing their trials. And again, these four companies really span from defense, cyber intel, and finance. We're currently discussing with the three types of companies. And they're all very large organizations with large data needs and resources, which works well with us. So this 1 million is really the immediate pipeline. We estimate that conservatively on a moderate scenario, we can really scale to next year, realistically, if we don't accelerate too much, $3 to $4 million ARR. So this may seem a lot from current revenue. It's actually not that much now that we are getting commercialized seriously since 2025. It's accelerating, and we estimate that we can generate a few millions of ARR in the next 2 years with a long-term goal of a much higher figure, like 30 to 80 million ARR in the next 5 years. We believe we have the potential to be a $100 million company. Of course, it's a rough order of magnitude, but it's important to give that target. It's perhaps a 5 to 8 years target in the end. But we're actually moving faster than we thought. For example, finance, we thought we would only talk to finance next year or in 2027. It's already happening today. They are taking our data very seriously. And finance is a very, very strict and high requirement sector. So it's a positive signal.
Yeah.
But so that's for the outlook. We can really scale fast. And of course, this seed is instrumental and strategic to making that happen, because we can now focus on execution. And now we have all this with only 2 people in the team, my partner and I. So you can imagine with a larger team what we can achieve, right?
Sounds good. Just a quick follow-up on the customers here. What type of finance customers would be interested? And also, with regards to AI and applications there, could you elaborate how Exorde might be helpful in both of these sectors?
This is a good question. You're right to ask. First, finance, I guess it's less obvious. It's a track that we call, or an emerging sub-market of finance that we call alternative data, right? For the past 10, 20 years, financial firms, so large hedge funds or financial research organizations, or simply large trading firms. No need to name, but you can pick the top 5. It's really what we're talking about. These large firms always try to be competitive and always build new models, right, to predict volatility, risk, do directional trading, portfolio allocation, of course, risk predictions. Yes.
Yeah. Are we talking about banks or hedge funds or these types?
It's more about hedge funds, even though we have a contact with a bank organization that want also for risk-oriented use cases internally to use this kind of data. Because, for example, you can look at what's going on in our data in real time and detect risk and adapt, adjust, or protect your interest very quickly. But it's mostly hedge funds that can use this data at scale. It can be a more reproducible B2B pattern. And they really use it in addition to all the data feeds that they currently have. All these organizations use, for example, Bloomberg Terminal APIs. They consume market data at scale already and have been for the past 10 to 20, 50 years, really. And now they are becoming more data-driven and adding more different data types in their data feeds, in their databases, to just gain an edge on the competition. And of course, this is where it comes alternative data. And we are a large part of this alternative data. And we have more data than anyone else, even for finance, in the big social data realm. And so it is how it's relevant for us. And so you ask for AI. AI is much more clear to understand. Since 2021, 2022, with OpenAI GPT boom, data has increased in value tremendously.
Yeah.
Data has maybe been, data price has really been multiplied by 50x, 100x. We can name, for example, X, Twitter's APIs going 100x from a couple hundreds per month to more than 40,000 a month for the first enterprise pricing. This is the kind of price we're talking about. It's millions of dollars a year to just acquire the raw data, not even processed or actionable data for all companies. So this boom has generated a lot of potential, and AI companies, what they really rely on is a lot of data, nice data sets to train their new models. A lot of companies today, it's about 100 of these large organizations, a lot more smaller startups are building new models. Of course, we can name the big ones like OpenAI, Anthropic, with Claude, Mistral, and so on. But there are a lot of organizations that require data. And AI today is really just data and infrastructure well mixed together, right? And the essential ingredient is data. And today it's really hard to acquire data, especially social data for large companies. And we have to solve the problem. And on this case, it will be actually a much simpler way to deliver data, because usually these AI organizations want historical data sets, and this is what we do best. So these deals are expected to go much faster when we get inside this market. Yes, I think that's summarize a bit.
Yeah, and before we move forward, I also heard this thought that we are kind of hitting might be hitting the limits of the publicly available data that can be used. I'm not sure what your thoughts are on there, but if Exorde is analyzing all the social media data, those things do not end, obviously. So there's continuous flow of data going into various platforms. So this is not an issue that Exorde will have. Am I understanding this correctly?
What do you mean it's more difficult? You mean on a technical level?
No, I'm thinking that this opinion was raised that we're kind of hitting the limits of publicly available data, and the synthetic data might not be that great to train AI models on. But in this case, we have actually real continuous data flow in terms of social media posts that Exorde can work with. So those
exactly. It's worth going to the next part to just present our infrastructure, because it's relevant to answer that point. What is our moat? It's not just that we acquire data, but we're really the first ones to industrialize a large network as infrastructure. It's a large distributed infrastructure over the world. We call them smart nodes. We have more than 10,000 right now. It's currently at 12,000 today. They are distributed in a lot of countries. And what they do is they capture data on a massive scale and in near real time. So when something is published, in a few minutes, even seconds, the post is found, verified, translated, processed, and collected. And we are able to provide that to our clients in a few minutes at scale. So we are the only ones to be able to capture all this data before it's deleted. Of course, it's only public data, where it's important to emphasize that what we do is, of course, legal and in the white area, not even in the gray zone. We try to really remain in a white zone where we'll be able to build a sustainable future for really decades. What we have is the only way to capture all this data at scale. And initially, I said that we have a very simple but powerful approach. A lot of companies, if some people are listening and they know social listening and how these analytics companies used to work, you come to them with a list of keywords or topics, you ask them to cover it, you want an extract over the next month. It's kind of a bounty. You give money for some bit of data, and then they look at it and they give you this subset. So of course, this can be interesting for the classic use cases like brands monitoring, social analytics, reputational, just very targeted data extracts. But this is very limited. It doesn't enable any or many or any use cases across cyber intelligence, defense, and even AI, of course. And we are really the first ones with this visionary approach and ambition, of course, back in 2022, to not just look at a list of keywords, but actually decide to collect all of it, right? This is our goal with Exorde. We are already well on our way. We believe we are at more than 40-50% of everything that's published already today. And with more resources, we believe we can scale to 99%. It depends, of course, on the platform and on the language. But we have a plan to capture the entire web. And when clients talk to us, they are very surprised about our approach when they ask how we select data, and that when we answer, we don't. We capture all of it so that you know in the past everything that was discussed, and there is no bias, no zoomed in effect in our data. And so there is a high quality aspect to what we produce. It's a data set, a streaming data set. Of course, every second we add more data onto it that you can rely on to extract new trends, look at, for example, political, financial, social narratives, historically or in real time. And you can trust that this data reflect the real world at scale. We process data in more than 170 languages, billions of data points. So it's not a small subset of what the people are saying online. It's a lot of it. It's most of it for some platforms. And with that, you can be sure that you don't miss anything. And this is a very simple, very kind of direct approach that actually no one has really taken. And this is what makes us unique with Exorde. We decided to specialize ourselves and be the standard, dominant, big social data provider. Right? A lot of data companies, they do a lot of different data types. We decided to really do only this type of data, public social data at scale, and be the best in the world with it. We believe it's what makes most sense.
Sounds good. So this is a question we have talked to a bunch of investors on Exorde, and this is a question that comes up. So what makes, and you kind of touched upon this, but maybe you can elaborate a bit in short as well. So what makes Exorde different from the other companies? And you mentioned a couple of benchmarks like covering 40-50% of 40%, if I'm not mistaken, of the data that's already out there, and you want to scale to 99. How do competitors compare in terms of technology, in terms of cost, and the third one in terms of breadth, so to say?
Right. So perhaps it's worth sharing data directly and maybe jumping back. So I take this opportunity to just open the parentheses on data. So this is our internal dashboard. I won't spend too much time into it. This is the number of unique posts we processed in the last month. 1.7 billion unique independent pieces of content that you can pinpoint with the precise link, precise date, precise language, and a list of very rich attributes that all organizations can use. This is what we process. A lot of sources, more than 5,000 sources currently, more than 5 major platforms, and we have never had this much data. And I'm showing you this number because it's hard to reflect on how much data is out there and how much we got. Already today, at this level, we believe that there's not even 2 other organizations who have this much data. Again, because, and this is not something we just hope is true, we are discussing with a lot of course, industry leaders in cyber intelligence and defense, and they are all very surprised and amazed with our data. We actually have multiple anecdotes where for example, in business conferences, we discuss about what we have, and we had the feedback or response from people in the industry not believing that we have this much, really not believing. They said, no, it's not possible. And so it is possible, and we have even more than we had back then. And we are scaling more than 20%, 15% month by month because of our data model. I will just skip to the main sources because these are really impressive. We have more than 1.3 billion tweets over the last month. We have more than 80 million Blue Sky posts or tweets in the last month, 50 million Reddit posts, and going back up. And so, for example, for Blue Sky, this is more than 80% of all discussions because the data is actually public. It's the only platform where it's public. Reddit, we believe we are going to scale to currently 70%, more than 90%, according to our estimates. And YouTube, already hard to tell, but we believe we are more than 50% of all conversations going on under videos on all languages everywhere in the world. And with Twitter, with 50 million tweets a day, and again, this figure is without, for example, things like retweets, likes, that could inflate metrics like some competitors do. Here we have really all conversation, right? We believe Twitter is at 100 million tweets a day without retweets, and we are about half. We are halfway there already. And on relevant themes, we believe we have a bigger coverage already on the most major languages. So already this is unmatched. Today, you just cannot acquire 1 billion tweets a month unless you're willing to pay dozens of millions a year. This is a fact. There are alternatives to get less data, but this scale, all aggregated as a service like Exorde, it's unique. It's only in Exorde. So this is the parenthesis I wanted to make. This page alone, when we show to client, is enough to convince to do any trial or any kind of deals or discussion after that. We have here, for example, more than 175 languages. We cover all topics, all conversations, all themes. We capture what people are saying in Vietnam, in Armenia, in South America, in Europe, everywhere at once. And there is one interesting, important point is that we capture all of this in real time. A lot of posts are deleted. I think it's about 40% of all tweets are deleted. It's a similar figure for Reddit. And we capture all that before it's deleted, all these conversations, so that large defense, cyber intelligence, governance can come to us and say, hey, we have this campaign. We want to look at what happened last month. I would like to look now, for example, around elections or large major geopolitical trends. And they can trust with our data that they have a picture of what's going on without it's deleted, because the internet is really hard to archive. And we are a solution here. And just to give you an order or comparison, large organizations today, the two major social listening companies, I won't name, they have a 1 to 4 hour delay on their data. And for some use cases, analytics, it's only updated every 12 hours. And in our case, it's a streaming set of data and analytics that is updated by the minute. And so this is a huge advantage. And we combine that with our scale, more than 60 million unique posts a day, which is more than some companies don't even have that in a month, right? And we have that in a day because we have a very large scale approach.
Okay.
So this is for the parentheses. This is for the data. I can discuss more about how we serve that data, but perhaps it's, of course, less.
But, in the interest of time, maybe we should talk about the team and what you're.
Yeah. Let's look at the team. Today we are only 2 in the team. Of course, we have built this company over the past 3 years with a team of engineers and PhD, 5 to 7 engineers and PhD, including previous founders. Currently, the team is lean, efficient, focused. I will take time to present my partner that is not here today to discuss, but is very likable and will be pleasure to discuss with anyone. He's currently leading business strategy, growth, partnerships, networks. He's an expert in cyber intelligence, cyber security. He has built several companies, scaled them from scratch, sold part of it, participated in a lot of companies like this. And he pretty much knows everyone there is to know in cyber intelligence. is living in the UK. So we have this dual kind of synergy. France and UK is leading and expanding a lot of our traction in UK, which is a large addressable market there, especially in cyber, defense, and finance. And so it explains also why today, with such a small team on top of what he likes to call a data elephant, Exorde, we're able to have this much revenue and trials or estimated pipeline right now, even with just two, because of his extended network, credibility, seniority. He's known, he knows the needs of the market. Of course, he doesn't know all the market. That's why we are scaling to have more hands, more business development force to expand simultaneously in finance, AI, and for example, US-based markets, Asian-based market. This is our strategy. But this is the duo, Tristan Palmer, the director, leading B2B, growth, partnerships, all that, and me leading data quality, engineering, and the general vision for the company as a data first, API first, efficient company. My mission is to keep the company very efficient because it is our operational mode. My mission is to keep the company rational, to build products that are well tested. I am not in the club of spending years building, for example, fancy products where we are not sure that the demand exists. We will remain very safe there. We'll only build new products quickly and where we know that there is an addressable market. Of course, we can really iterate quickly, but this is the duo. It's a very lean duo, very efficient. We complement ourselves, of course, perfectly, right? And yes, I think that's very clear.
Sounds good. Yes, I think the experience behind Tristan and your technical background should be helpful here. And now you're fundraising, and you have one large backer behind already, and plenty others for my info at least. Last info. Can you talk about how the money is going to be allocated? So obviously we're going to be helpful with eqwefy as well here. And you also mentioned that, we know this, it might not come across as evidently from the last name, but you have Armenian ancestry, and you also have some plans for building out, expanding
yes,
Armenia kind of side of things. And for people's knowledge, Mathias actually got in touch with us and wanted proactively to have some Armenian community backing. So talk a bit about your plans with the fundraise in general, but also your plans with Armenia.
Yes, with great pleasure. So first, on user funds, right? 50% of the funds are really directly and immediately dedicated to growing our business operations, to add more power behind Tristan, to give in more men. Really, it's what it's all about. We have already pre-hired key profiles with the best kind of seniority and expertise in US defense AI market. And this is the type of things we are using the money on, is to expand the B2B sales team, right? To do this land and expand strategy, just have multiple people talking to different types of organizations with their respective fields. Ideally, we would like to have one AI business development team or developer initially, one cyber intelligence, one finance, and so on. We would like to have a persistent establishment in the US, in Asia, and in Europe. So this is 50% of the raise is to expand this team. Of course, we'll do it progressively as revenue grows. And this is a direct investment on immediate revenue, right? It's more hands to bring clients to the data, to immediately drive more revenue to scale further. The rest is to keep the infrastructure going and for minor development, new products, right? But today it's important to note to people who are listening, because I have not made it very perhaps clear. Our technology is mature, scalable, and efficient today. It works, it's operational. We don't need to spend a few years to build it. As you saw the numbers before, you have to trust, of course, the numbers, but we can assure that the technology is sound, it's built, it's scalable for more than 2 years now. And so we only need to keep the operations going, build some new APIs, write new endpoints, or new dashboards for example, finance or AI companies. But these are minor developments. The core of the technology is there. So it's mostly to keep things running for the next 1.5 years, 2 years, and mostly give fuel to the sales team, to the growth partnerships, because this is key in this data world. So this is our efficient plan with the funds. That's also why we are not raising 10 million or a large amount. We don't need that much. We are already very efficient and we are scaling with revenue now. So we only need this amount. We actually need around 1.5 million euros. And yes, so I will keep on this slide just to discuss on your second point. So I came to you because it is my principle as an Armenian founder that I would like to connect with Armenia and, of course, support Armenia. How? First, I would like to bring Armenian developers in our ecosystem to participate in our large-scale infrastructure. We know there are highly skilled Armenian talents out there, and it would match perfectly with our mission. Also, I believe that Armenia is very quickly modernizing with cyber intelligence, cyber warfare, strategic data initiatives. And with our help, we can bring key data strategic elements to Armenia, Armenian companies, Armenian organizations. So we want to be a key player there, again, because there are no other Exorde-like companies. So it's a plus that I can bring the capabilities of Exorde and make strategic special partnership with Armenian players, Armenian companies. So it's about expanding our ecosystem, our developers ecosystem, our large-scale data collection enterprise with Armenians, and bring these specific types of capabilities with a focus, a vision to help Armenian organizations to stay efficient. Again, today, the cost of data has exploded. Companies don't know where to look. Yeah. And if I can give an edge to Armenian companies, it will be a great win-win. It will be a pleasure to work like that.
Yeah, I think we very much look forward to having its operational presence in Armenia. I think cybersecurity and these type of things are present across the globe. So maybe Exorde can be helpful to Armenian organizations as well in terms of cyber defense and things like that. So that's great. Anything else, Mathias, that you would like to add as we kind of wrap things up? Obviously, we're very glad and privileged to have Exorde participate and list on eqwefy, and we look forward to ourselves in the team investing and participating. Is there anything else that you want to share? There's a huge value story here, and that's it's good that it's available for many others. But yeah, if you have any final concluding remarks, yes, please take over.
I'm not sure there's a specific topic we haven't discussed. I'd like to maybe summarize and emphasize just for the last part that we solve a very hard problem today. Getting this data is not easy. We talk about public social data. Some people don't really understand how difficult or costly it is. We solve a really $1 million problem for a lot of organizations at the same time. We are well positioned to do it best. We are not aware of anyone else who does it as good as we do already today at our current stage. And we will really be an upstream data player. Behind the scenes, it's where actual AI, defense, cyber intelligence happens. And I think that's pretty much it. I think we were as clear as we could. I am very privileged to be here today. I am glad that I have this opportunity, and it will be my pleasure to
Sounds good.
expand. Yes.
So if anyone has questions, feel free to reach out to us, and I'm sure we'll collaborate further. And obviously, yeah, feel free to check out the website. There's a bunch of data there as well that people can take a look at. So, Matthias, thanks a lot, and yeah, nice seeing you again, and we'll be in touch. Have a good day.
Thank you. Talk soon.